What's up, YouTube fans? Today we're going to take a look at the Mastermind Creations Tyrantron Rise, or their version of a Stormbringer Megatron. So this is a heavy retool of their Optimus Prime figure, which I really enjoyed. One of the most articulated Optimus Primes we've ever gotten. And I was excited to see this. I did get to look at it at TFCon a while back, and now we have the production version. Shout out to Brian W, who sent this for review. Thanks for wanting to take a look at your copy. I definitely want to look at it, but I'm not really into the reformatted line myself, but I certainly am interested in taking a look at this. So I appreciate it, him sending it to me. There's a couple things you need to do out of box to get him configured. So number one, if you come to the back here, these are just kind of sitting here. You need to rotate these panels right here around, so you end up with this tab sitting out, and that's going to end up in this slot right here on the backpack. And you want to kind of get this configured so that the armature is pushed up like that, and then you get that tab into here. It tabs in nice and secure, but you do want to get this kind of collapsed up in there. Same on this side. Rotate this around, and then get it tabbed in, and you want to get the armatures underneath tucked up in like that. Another thing that you might have to do, depends on your copy. I think it's a result may vary type of thing, but the legs might be collapsed. You want to pull the legs down. They do have a lock point or click point. You can hear it kind of click into place. And then you want to push these thighs down. Mine were not configured correctly out of box, so I just figured I'd mention that. But now you're ready for action. It also makes him a little bit taller, and he's really good looking. All the silver you see is paint. There's some red accents here and there throughout the figure. Red accents up here. The red here is plastic color. You have red plastic on the inside of the legs. You got a little bit of silver on that inner leg. Silver on the toes. Red accents here on the thighs. Nice curly Q design on the chest. White for the face, red for the eyes, and then black for the eyebrows. Silver for the chin. All that looks nice. Here's a back. It does clean up nicely on the backpack. We can also push out on these panels, although you don't necessarily have to. On the original, you had to push out on these so that it wouldn't collapse down, but pretty clean looking overall. If you hear a rattling, that's these treads, which we'll look at in vehicle mode and tank mode. So it's nothing loose on this, it's just the treads. They made working treads, which we haven't gotten for a long time on any figure, to be honest. So it's nice to see that. Let's go over the articulation. There is a ton of articulation on this figure, just like the Optimus Prime. So the head is on a ball joint, so it goes down to there, up to there. The neck itself is on a hinge, so that can move forward and backward. So combining the two together, you get way up, way down, and then the whole head is on a panel, and that panel moves up and down too, side to side, and of course rotates. So lots and lots of movement on that head. Shoulders have a butterfly joint here. If you lift up on this, you can get the shoulders up and out. The shoulder pad itself is on a huge rotating hinge, so you can get that out of the way if you want. That is part of the transformation. You have rotation at the bicep. Double joint elbow gives you a full bend, nice piston look there for the elbow. Wrists are on a rotating hinge, so it rotates and it bends in and out for dice roll. Fingers are extremely articulated at 1, 2, 3 pins and a splay out joint. Thumb is also on a ball joint and 2 pins. So extremely well articulated fingers on this, just like the Optimus Prime figure. So that's done very well. You have a double ab crunch. So you have one up here that can rotate and also get a little bit forward and backward on that joint. If you pull up on it, you can get it way down because it is double jointed ab crunch. There's also a joint here, a ball joint at the lower joint. So that has forward and backward and side to side and rotates. So there's 2 places where you can rotate and get an ab crunch and side to side. That's really quite a bit going on there. For the hip skirts, you can move these out of the way. I don't love these hip skirts, to be honest. These front ones are not my favorite, but Legs have a drop down hinge, gets down to there. Allows you to get the leg kicked all the way up to there. Back to there. Out to the side on a ratchet. Holds nicely. Rotation of the thigh at a universal. We have a double jointed knee with a auto morphing feature here for the little pistons there. So you get that nice looking knee, and the knee pad folds up. That's really well done. Really well done. I love how that works. Similar to the Optus Dominion, but a little bit different design. And remember, you got to pull this down so that it has the full length. Coming down to the feet, you have ankle tilts all the way out to there, back to there, toe tilt up and down, heel tilt forward and backward. You can get him into a walking pose. Really nice articulation. All right, you do get a ton of accessories with this guy, and he's kind of naked with about one of them, so I probably should put it on earlier, but here's his gun, his blaster, and it has this little peg. You want it folded out with the tab facing outwards, and you want this collapsed. This will peg into the side of the arm. You can put it on either side, doesn't matter, but I'm going to put it on that side. You can also put it here if you want. Good looking cannon. Any Megatron should have a good looking cannon, so that's works. We also get his sword, done in silver, translucent purple, black. Nice looking sword. There's 2 points you can hold it, upper and lower. I'll put it on the lower one. He can double wield it if you want, because there's 2 spots to hold it. So you can have one hand holding the top one and one hand holding the bottom one if you want. I'll just show you. You could get it into both hands if you want, but it's a nice looking sword. I think it's a good sculpt overall. We also get this mace, which is really cool. Silver with translucent purple soft plastic. Nice metal chain, actual metal, and then plastic handle. This will peg into the hand. You can do something like that. Very cool weapon. I really like how that turned out. And last but not least, we get an alternate head and alternate faces. So personally, I'm not a big fan of the head that comes on it, the face that comes on it. I'll just take it off so you can see it closer. It's a smiling face. It just looks a little cheesy. But the good news is you have alternate faces, so we can basically swap it out. And now we have this frowning face. Or if you prefer, you can use the black helmet. And that one looks really good. I like that a lot. So I'll get that on there. And now we have him yelling angry. Alright, now let's get this guy transformed into tank mode. And the transformation is quite a bit different than the Optus Dominion. A couple things are similar, but let's get started. Go ahead and remove the cannon. You can fold in this tab, extend the barrel, and then this is ready, so you can set that aside. Now we'll come to the arms. We can lift up on these, rotate the arm. We're going to collapse this up and just leave that out like this, and then rotate the fist. And then same on this side. Actually, we can extend this all the way out to give yourself some room. And then same on this. Rotate this, lift it up, and collapse the elbow down. Then we'll take care of the backpack and the head. So come to here, unpeg these pylons, which will become the treads. Fold those down out of the way. We're going to come to here, you're going to remove this tab section here. And bring that up. Unfurl it and get it straight like that. Bring the head down into this cavity, and then you're going to bring this over the top. It is a tight fit. It actually, it kind of bumps up next to it. It's a little tricky to get it perfectly in there without bumping. So I found that you kind of have to push the head as you open this panel, and then you can get it over the top, but it does collide a little bit. All right, get that down and get this back towards the center like this. So leave these down. We're going to take the arms, lift up on these, and we're going to get this pegged in. There's a slot there that goes into this tab, slot here for this tab. Rotate the wrists, the fists, that you have them like this, and then get all that pegged in. You might need to lift up a little bit to get it lined up, but you should be able to get this tabbed in here. There's the one tab, and there's the other one. And make sure you have the fingers kind of rolled up into a square as much as you can. All right, same on this side. Bring this over. You might have to lift it up just a little bit to get it pegged in and get these things out of the way. And get it tabbed in. So it should look like this. Then we're going to crisscross these two, which is interesting the way they did it. So this one is going to peg in right here on the top. And then this one is going to come across it and peg into the top of that. Has a tab to go into here. I haven't really seen anything like this in a transformation before, so I just thought it was kind of cool the way they did it. Pretty unique. So get this tabbed in. There we go. And then on the top here, bring these down. These are going to tab together. And back here as well. And once you have it tabbed together, come to the inside here. You're going to lift up and out on these two little gun pieces. There we go. And then this clip right here is going to hold this gun. There we go. So it should look like this. Bring this back over the top, and this should sit a little bit further back, kind of like that. Okay. And again, you want these hands flat as best as you can and rotated like this. All right, then we'll take care of this chest piece here. So come to the front and open up this chest. And it's a little tricky to get this out here, but there's two claws that are stored in here, and you have to get them out. I recommend a spudger to get them flipped out of here. Like I mentioned, it's a little tricky to get them folded properly, but get these flipped out. And you want to have them so that they sit on the front of the chest. So bring this all the way up here, and then it should end up like this. This chest piece has two pegs. They're going to go into two slots there, and then this piece is going to sit on top of there. So just get that pegged in. It pegs in pretty securely to make the front of the tank. All right, now we'll take care of these side pieces. So these have to peg in a couple places. So this slot here is going to go into this peg right there. On the inside, we're going to open this up. This peg is going on this tab. This peg is going in here. And then lastly, this peg on the back is going into the side of the arm. So you got to do all that. So I'll do this bottom one first, then this one, then that front one, and then finally this back one. So here's how it looks when you're done. We can actually pull up on this chest and also pull up on the waist to separate the top from the chest. All right, do the same thing on this side. All right, so there we go. We got both of the tank treads on the front, and now we'll take care of this back section. So we got to do a little bit of work here on the legs. So come to here, we're going to open up this panel. I'll do one leg, we'll do the other one off camera. Pull out this armature, and basically fold that forward so it sits like this. Open this up, you can close that back down. Lift up on this panel right here. It's supposed to peg back into there. It's pretty tough to get it, to be honest. It kind of collapses on you as you're attaching it. But you do want to bring this down and attach it there. It helps if you hold it. Get that pegged in to the top of that panel. So it looks something like this. Come to the side, we're going to unpeg this. Fold this up. This will accordion down and sit down here. This foot is going to angle forward. You can actually slide it down, and then we're going to angle it forward, and that tab is going to go into there. Tabbed in there, and there you go. That's how it should be looking. So we are going to collapse this down onto the side, but we're going to do that after we get the other leg configured. All right, now that we have both legs configured, we can take care of the rest here. So we're going to slide these hip pieces up. It's a little tricky. You want to get them up over the thigh piece there. These will tab together, so get them squeezed, and it's tough to not collapse this down accidentally. So push from the outside, push on these outer pieces here, not on the shin pieces. Get those tab together. Then we're going to let's see, rotate at the waist. So you get this aimed this direction. On this side, you'll see there's two tabs here that are going to peg in underneath here. And then there's a slot on the crotch that's going into a tab right here. So there's three things holding this together when you get it collapsed. Oh, and also we want to rotate these hip skirts in underneath the abs. Rotate this up and make sure you hit all those three tabs. That'll kind of hold them together. And now we have to collapse the legs over these hands. So make sure you have this pushed in. We're going to collapse down on this as far as it'll go. And then this will clip in to the top of the knees right here. All right, bring this back, set this on top like this. All right, and there he is in tank mode. Looks pretty good from the front. He's got a lot of firepower. He's got two guns down here, this gun over here. He's got this one which can pose up and down, move forward and backward. You got this little missile pod right here with the red missiles in it. And then you got the main turret, which can rotate up and down. And then the whole thing can rotate. It gets a little caught up, but it goes out to there just due to the way it's designed. So you can't get it all the way around, but you can get it up to there. The back is a little less tanky. You know, it looks more like legs. But it does have the working treads on the front and the back. It does roll on those treads. We haven't seen working treads on anything in a while, so it's cool to see that. But overall, pretty cool looking tank, with exception to the back. I think the back is a little phoned in, but the front definitely got it. For size comparison, there it is next to the Magic Square version of Optimus Prime. As you can see, it's a pretty big tank. You know, fits in nicely with a Masterpiece scale, although it's from the reformatted line, so that line's always been a little bit smaller, but this one is nice and big. So final recommendations on the Mastermind Creations Tyrantron Rise. This is a pretty cool figure, just like the Optus Prominion. I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5. I'm going to recommend it. It's got really nice articulation. The accessories included are really fun. I like the sword and the mace. They both look really cool. Tank mode looks okay. I'm not a fan of the back of it, but the front of it definitely looks pretty cool. And I like the articulation of the guns, and the fact that it has multiple guns makes it a little bit more interesting. So overall, yeah, I think this is pretty cool. Now I just saw that they announced a TFCon exclusive version of this guy with purple and silver. So that's interesting. I'll take a look at that when we go to TFCon Toronto. But that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Thanks to Brian W. for sending us for review, and we'll see you next time.